lined up the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? You are tuned into the Drive-In Speaker Box podcast. It is Monday night. It is September 25th, 2023, and I'm your host, Bo, the Boom Operator.
I'm Slick Doggy the Grip.
And we're back. I know it's been a difficult couple of weeks for you guys not being getting fresh, crispy episodes of the Drive-In Speaker Box, but it's been a busy couple of weeks.
We had to go see Tenacious D.
We did.
It was something we could not miss.
He played. They played Master Exploder live.
Yeah.
And you watch the movie, the Tenacious D movie, and he's like, oh, and you're like, okay, maybe there's a lot of vocal processing going on in this because the scene is pretty, because he like, I did not mean to blow your mind, and he performed it live, and you're like, oh my God, maybe they do have the pick of destiny because he nailed it.
Yeah. Jack Black and Kyle Gass are very talented people. I was really tickled to see Kyle Gass live.
Yeah, dude. I mean, this is the second time I've seen Tenacious D in concert. Yeah, because the first time I saw him before The Pick of Destiny was a movie.
Yeah.
And nobody knew who Tenacious D was.
I've wanted to see them for 20 years.
Because they went on tour, it was like right when they did the album. And that album was like
24 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Because that album, a lot of people only know their music from that album because a lot of the other stuff was just from the HBO show, and it was purely acoustic. And then when they put out that album, it had full band accompaniments. And, purists like me were like, I don't know, Explosivo doesn't need drums. And, but it works. It's just like it's the D, as modern rock is dying and music is going so pop heavy and being crappy, like the D ages like fine wine, and it was a great show. So
I was stoked that they played Wonder Boy because that was I didn't catch the HBO show because I never had pay channels growing up. I did buy the HBO show on DVD immediately upon its release, but the Wonder Boy music video I caught on MTV when that was a thing. When I was like at home sick one day, and I was like, dude, this band rules. And then they did tribute later on, but Wonder Boy's what I saw first. So seeing that in concert, I was like, yeah, this is what made me like Tenacious D.
And they did the Saxaboom, which was a bit that he's done forever, and it was always funny.
Big Saxaboom.
Oh, that was that was a new piece of that bit.
Yeah, the Mega Boom or whatever.
So good, but yeah, we saw that, and then I've just been doing lots of stuff. I actually spoke at ARCAST, the Arkansas Podcast Convention that was a couple days ago, and always kind of a chaotic panelist. A lot of these podcast people, they're like, we're on podcast number 4. We're really excited about being famous. And they're like, well, that's not going to happen. And then you put, a lot of these people don't have the practice of being live, of not having an absolute clue of what you're going to say, but somehow being engaging. And we're still learning, right? But they put me in the podcast happy hour because they had a panel about like inclusion, and they had a panel about like podcasting 101, and then we were in or I was in podcast happy hour, and it was another guy who I'd never met before, and kept making jokes about his OnlyFans, and I don't know if he was super into it, but he rolled with the punches, but I knocked him dead, and I got invited to be on like 2 other podcasts, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it was a fun time. It was in Rogers at the Meteor, and Ty King, who runs Artcast, I think they're going to be doing 2024, which is going to be really cool. So everybody that came out, it was a fun time. But right now, we're in the middle of Nightmare on Block Street. If you guys live in Northwest Arkansas, it's a big, very horror movie centric event that I put on here locally at Pinpoint. And I'm neck deep. That's why I'm wearing a hat. Neck deep in construction, but that's why this guy went and saw movies. So this is going to be a Jake heavy episode because
you're welcome, everybody.
You're welcome. So
hey, Movie Albert.
Yeah, what up, Movie Albert? How's it going, man? Don't forget to subscribe to Hardy Entertainment over there on YouTube. Let's see. Let's jump into some news. I mean, the only news that I have, because I've just been constructing, is the writer's strike might be ending.
Hey, hot damn. We can quit having to hear about it.
Yeah, so I haven't seen all the terms, but I did see a blurb that's saying that the Screenwriters Guild has come to, quote unquote, a very pleasing agreement, and they are satisfied with the terms, and they are going to move forward. It still has to go to votes between all the, bureaucratic committees that involve everything, but that's good. This is good. Means we might see some new stuff, and some of these things might get released, and movies might come out on time.
Yeah, we can have people talk about their movies on press junkets and not feel bad about it or be ostracized from Hollywood because everyone's like, hey, check out my new show that we worked on like 2 years ago that's finally coming out, and everyone's like, you shut the hell up, you shut up, you shut your mouth. And so you don't have that anymore. Yeah. That'll be something. I got tons of news.
Good.
Because we have missed news. So I'll just go through it here. Star Wars Lando has gone from being a series on Disney Plus. It's going to be its own movie now.
It's a series?
It was going to be a Disney Plus series, but now it's going to be a movie with all Donald Glover
reprising
still
his role
as
from
Lando.
Solo.
Yeah.
Okay.
So seems like Disney hasn't learned that lesson that they said that they learned, where they're like, we're going to calm it down with the series and movies so much. They're like, what if instead of the series, we make it a movie, because Disney Plus, we're cutting series and we're charging more dollars. So let's make it a movie. That way it makes all money at one time and screw people. So there's that.
And less to write.
Also, Disney Plus coming up here for the spooky season. They're going to re-release Werewolf by Night on Disney Plus, which apparently got taken off of Disney Plus, even though it's a Disney Plus original.
And this is the time you want to watch it.
They came out with that last year. So on September 15th, it came out. Mm-hmm. So it was put back on Disney Plus on the 15th in its original black and white. But on October 20th, they're going to release a colorized version or a non-decolored version is most likely.
It's because people go, I don't want to watch it in black and white.
Maybe.
Because people do that. They go, I don't want to read subtitles. I don't want to read it because it has black bars on the tops and bottoms.
Yeah.
I don't want to get some black and white.
Oh, you remember that when people didn't understand the difference between full screen and widescreen? And like working at Hastings, everyone like, this movie looks like crap on my TV. It has these dumb bars on it. It's like, well, if you buy it the other way, it might have dumb bars going this way.
But you can see everything.
Yeah. Anyhow.
Like, no, I can't. I can't see the tops and the bottoms. And I'm like,
yeah, I know. But so I read this article on Screen Rant, and they were talking about their speculation being that Disney's using this to test the waters for mature content, because as it is going to be in color, it'll be a little bit more
straight up
violent.
Disney porn.
Yeah, but the whole thing is, because they're like, well, this might pave the way for like Deadpool and stuff like that. But Disney's already done some more mature stuff, like
putting dicks in the clouds in Lion King and stuff.
Well,
like that
kind of thing, or having Hulk dick jokes for 2 minutes, or Thor dick jokes for 60
Jeff
seconds.
Goldblum semen jokes.
Yeah, or Doctor Strange 2 was a zombie movie with a bunch of superhero murder and lots of blood.
That was the best part of the movie.
Yeah, and so they didn't think anything about that. So I don't think that's the case. I think that, they're just trying to grab that, like, audience that's like black and white. I don't know about that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, things that are dumb that stupid people are into. One Piece season 2 was announced back on the 14th.
Everyone seems to like this but you.
Okay, so here's the thing. People are dumb as fuck, and we know that.
Not you guys. We're talking about people, other people.
Now, the thing about it is they're like, well, it's the #1 streaming thing in like 50 some odd countries.
Therefore, it's beyond criticism.
Right. So the thing is curiosity, right? There's curiosity. Now, I know 2 other people that are like true One Piece fans, like people that like One Piece. They can't stand the series, right? They can't get into it. And I read an article by the showrunner where he talked about, or I watched him talk about it. It was a video. He talked about it. He goes, well, we did a lot of ideas and Oda just really, really hated them. We had some pretty wild ideas that drastically changed everything about One Piece that we really wanted to do. And Oda said, no. He put a stop to it and said, absolutely not. You cannot do this to One Piece. And by doing that, we got away with the other things that we wanted to do. That's straight up what he said. I'm barely paraphrasing this. I'm not convoluting it or restructuring it. That's what he said, just not in those exact words, but most of those exact words.
Well, I finished the season 1, and I'll say I didn't like loathe it by the end, but I also felt like it was extremely unnecessary. I mean, I do have a very, very, very like Achilles heel to anything that is like a pirate related content situation, like real big ships that are made and are real and not green screen that are on the ocean. I'm like, yay, this is fun. But it was a little hard to watch some of those.
And it doesn't make any
episodes.
sense. It's a very like Guardians of the Galaxy where it's like, why is this group of people a team at all? And in fact, the whole series, they complain that they're not a team. There's no reason for Sanji to join at all because they took his origin away from him, or his reason for joining. Zoro refuses to be a part of the crew, even though he's the first to join, which is why he's the most loyal.
He joins at the very end.
At the very end. But Zoro joined the crew in the real One Piece the moment Luffy unties him from the cross.
Well, yeah.
That's the whole point of Zoro. It doesn't
There's
matter.
also 400,068 million and 5 episodes of this.
The people that are saying they like this have never watched live action adaptation outside of Netflix is the problem. Because there's plenty of fantastic live action anime.
There is?
Yeah, Sakigake o Tokujuku, Crows, Dororo, Blade of the Immortal.
There's a live action Dororo?
Yeah. Sailor Moon series, both of the GTO
There's a
series.
live action Sailor Moon that's not a porn parody?
Yeah, dude, it came out in like the 2003. It's fantastic. Both the GTO series, the GTO movie, nah. Shit, man, it tossed me. The point is, there's lots of really, really good live action anime adaptations that just aren't made by Netflix or Hollywood.
True. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
Hollywood doesn't know what they're doing.
So,
But anyway, all right. Moving
anyhow.
on from Netflix.
Well, something fun for horror season here. Final Destination 6 news. Tony Todd's coming back.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Tony Todd rules, man.
Yeah, he's coming back as William Bloodworth, and he's going to.
We need more Tony Todd content before he's too old to be in these movies.
Yeah, he's going to be in it, and that is set to start filming after the strike is over. So as soon as the strike's done, they'll start Final Destination 6, and he's been in almost all of them.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, he had a voice cameo, and one of them he was not in, but other than that, he's been on
My
screen.
favorite part of the Candyman second, or whatever the modern Candyman movie was the Tony Todd cameo at the end. Was just like...
Also, I've met Tony Todd in real life. He's super nice. And
He seems like a
very
super
cool
nice dude.
And he's way taller than what you would think.
Oh, yeah,
he
he's
is.
big.
He's
big
tall
guy.
as shit. But me and one of my buddies were at a Star Trek convention, and he was just kind of walking around.
How many Klingons did he play?
Just one. He was Kern.
Just Kern? Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if he did cameos as other aliens like...
He was other aliens too. I can't remember
Gotcha.
what, but he was also adult Jake Sisko.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, that's right.
But he was a couple other aliens too. But he's super nice. He was walking back in from like taking a leak or whatever, going back to his booth, and people were just kind of swarming him because he was out in the open, and he wasn't at all like, "Hey, I'm just trying to
Get
make it
away
back
from
to
me,
my booth," or
nerd.
like, "You got to come talk to me when you have to pay me money to talk to me." He stopped. He talked to everyone, took pictures with anyone that wanted it, which included my buddy. He was super nice about everything, and he was just like, "Yeah, man, thanks for like thinking that I'm cool." Very nice guy. I really respect him for being rad. Also, with the release of Expendables, talking about older dudes, it was brought up in a interview with Stallone about doing another Rambo, because at the end of the last Rambo, he rode off on the horse into the mountains, and everyone's like, "Oh, Rambo lives."
Just resetting the story back to First Blood. We're just gonna make a loop.
And people asked Stallone about this at the Toronto Film Festival, and he was like, "No, it's not going to happen." He's like, "What's Rambo going to be fighting? Arthritis? It's just not in the cards." Which, slight spoiler for Expendables, Stallone's in it for every bit of 30 seconds.
Dang.
Yeah, he's not even in his own movie anymore. So that's something.
Kind of makes me not want to watch it now.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't. Also, last week, Oppenheimer became the highest grossing biography movie ever made. How about that?
Look at that.
Yeah, it topped Bohemian Rhapsody,
wow.
which was a far from the truth version of a biopic.
But,
So,
Freddie Mercury.
yep. And then Indian movie news. Y'all know that this is fun. SS Rajamouli, who...
What?
Oh, I see you reaching for the button. There it is. Which actually, SS Rajamouli does Tamil and Telugu films, which RRR was in Telugu. He's set to be presenting a documentary about the origins of the Indian film industry. That sounds super exciting.
That does sound actually pretty
because SS Rajamouli has 3 of the top 10 most successful Indian movies ever, being Bahubali, Bahubali 2, and RRR. So 2 Tamil, 1 Telugu movie, topping those charts, which, despite that, and despite the success of both of the Bahubalis, Shah Rukh Khan's new movie, which I did watch for you guys, Jawan, since it passed $100 million, has made it where Shah Rukh Khan is the only Indian actor to have 2 $100 million movies.
Really?
Yeah, and let alone they both came out in the same year, with Pathan that came out earlier this year, which has an extended version available on Amazon. Highly recommend. And now Jawan, that's in the theater right now. And talking about Jawan, it is set to top RRR's success at the box office. It's not big numbers here, but it is for Indian movies breaking into the American movie scene. Jawan's made over $13 million in
That's
the U.S.
a lot of dollars.
And RRR made $14 million in the U.S.
I mean, just last week, Jawan was number 13 in the U.S. Yeah.
And Pathan currently is the highest grossing Indian movie to ever be in the U.S. at $17 million. Pathan. So Shah Rukh Khan has 2 of the 3 highest grossing U.S. Indian movies ever right now, and he's about to have the top 2. So that's very cool for Shah Rukh Khan and people discovering that Indian movies are badass. It was amazing to see that RRR had so much success on Netflix that people know what that is, and then went to the theater to see it anyhow because like, oh, I got to see this movie on a big screen, which rip Ray Stevenson.
Oh yeah,
because he was the bad guy.
He was the bad
guy. Also, recently, we got some stills from the Toxic Avenger. Did you see him?
Of course, I did not see him. I told you. I've been in a cave the past 2 weeks.
The big one is friggin' Elijah Wood looking like
I
Danny DeVito's
did
Penguin.
see that
Messed
one.
up teeth,
Yeah.
nasty hair. He's just super gross. And also Dinklage. You see him as just regular Dink, and then there's a silhouette of him as Toxic Avenger with a glowing green mop.
I'm looking for it.
But Toxie's going to be a little person now,
Of
even
course.
after he transforms into Toxie, which I would have thought maybe, they would have had him
Make
because,
him grow.
because the
Like a
original
Power
Toxie was,
Ranger
yeah,
villain.
well, he was like a total skinny nerd dude, and everyone's like, hey, little nerd. And he's like, don't pick on me, you guys. And they're like, yeah, eat toxic sludge, nerd. And he grows to be Toxie, and then he like scores babes and fights villains and does cool Toxic Avenger stuff. Which everything Toxic Avenger is so cool with the cartoon and all of the terrible movies. That's the kind of stuff that I grew up on. So we'll see how this goes. And Kevin Bacon's like the bad guy. There's a picture of him on it.
Oh, that's perfect.
yeah.
Kevin Bacon's always fun.
Yeah. So I don't know how to feel about it, but I'll probably watch it anyhow. Also, things to not know how to feel about is there was announced the release date for Smile 2. It's going to be
whatever.
October 18th of next year. That movie had the first one had a $17 million budget.
It made so much money.
And it made $217.4
I'm
million.
surprised that they haven't announced like 2 more of them.
That was just in theaters, and then it made even more on streaming.
Ridiculous.
And right now,
the
the
power of a scary movie.
only movies they have confirmed for October of next year is that and Joker 2. Joker 2 releases 2 weeks before it.
I'm surprised. Well, why is that one taking so long?
Who knows?
I think they've already finished principal photography on it. But
Well, and talking about things they've finished, Ballerina, the next John Wick spinoff movie, is coming out next year too.
I'm starting to see a lot more of the Continental ads
Oh,
popping
it
up.
came out this weekend on
That's
like
right,
Peacock
yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, Continental came out, but they said that they've actually finished the director's cut of the Ballerina movie. So it's in the can, it's ready to go. They're just waiting on its release window. And I'm sure that strike stuff has slowed that thing down too. Also, something that's kind of interesting is coming up on the 29th, there's going to be a limited release. That's this weekend. Yeah, this weekend, of a movie called The Exorcists with an S at the end.
More than one?
Just a week before The Exorcist without an S on the end comes out in theaters. It's brought to you by the Asylum, which are the people that did Sharknado,
God.
Transmorphers, Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies, and all these mockbusters.
All those red box, yeah, the mockbusters.
Mockbusters is what they're called. But the interesting thing about this is that one of the priests, like the main priest, because this is about 3 priests that are like doing like 24 hours, like taking turns trying to exorcise the demon from this girl or whatever. But like one of the main ones is played by Doug Bradley, the man who played Pinhead in the majority of
Weird.
Yeah. So it's like a Cenobite is trying to exorcise a demon from somebody.
I'm going to look this
It'll
up.
also be available on VOD. So if Doug Bradley, someone you just want to watch a movie of, and you like the mockbusters kind of a thing, this will be out there.
Yeah, there's a picture of him in the here. I can probably put this over on the I can maybe do the thing.
Which, I mean, if you watch any of the Hellraiser movies, it's just one of those things where seeing him, you're just like, oh, that's the butthole they opened the box.
Yeah, why did he do that?
Yeah, when you find out about like World War One, right? He was like in World War One, and he like got the box and opened it and turned into Pinhead and all that kind of thing.
Earthly pleasure and delights.
Is that Justin Trudeau?
Oh, I didn't even catch it.
No.
Yeah, it looks like.
Yeah, see.
Oh my God, this looks like a steaming pile of exorcisms, and these 4 teens are gonna show up to play Ouija.
Was she carrying a leak like
I thought it was a crowbar.
Yeah,
not like
but
a vegetable.
It looked like a leek, like that one Pokemon, that duck Pokemon that's holding the leek.
Oh, yeah, this looks so bad. The strength of 3. There he is.
Yeah, but I mean, the point of it is you got Pinhead being like on the other side of things. He's like on the side of heaven.
I wouldn't trust him.
And then some bummer news. Oh, wow. Hey, Booch. Dina, yeah, new Toxie. Get with the news there. A24 is coming out with Time Traveling
Horror movie?
Coming soon to the Dollar General DVD rack. Yeah, that's exactly where this movie will be. Bummer news, which I guess is really... Oh, my next to last bit of news here. Amazon Prime announced that at the beginning of next year, all of their content will be coming with ads.
Oh, I saw that.
By default.
God damn it.
And so a regular Amazon Prime subscription right now, instead of $100 a year like it used to be, is now $14.99 a month. And for another $2.99 a month, you can have ad-free content. So you have to pay another $3 a month to get no commercials.
It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
Quick redemption on Twitch. Someone redeemed a bric-a-brac points thing. I just grabbed this because it's relatively new. This is for those of you that are just listening at home on the podcast and have no clue what's going on. This is a metal drive-in intermission guy. It's like the let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves a snack. But this, I actually acquired this from an estate sale. This is an original one. I can't remember the name of the drive-in that it was at, but the guy worked there. He died, but the people that were at the estate, like the family, was like, yeah, because he had all these movie posters, which I bought way too many of. But he had a couple of these on the wall, and right behind Jake's head, if he leans to his side, the Crypt Keeper is holding the other one, which is like let's eat a hot dog. But got these the other day.
That kind of makes me worry, actually, because there was an old dude that worked at the local drive-in that I worked at the Malco Theater with. His name was Dan, and he was a super old dude. Was there like a little Ford Ranger in the driveway or something?
I didn't see that, but there was a lot of I got a couple of movie splicer, film splicers that are somewhere around here.
Yeah, he worked at the local drive-in for decades.
Sad.
So I wonder if it was Dan, because I don't have a way to see that guy anymore. Well, and just closing out the news, this past weekend has been the worst weekend at the box office of the entire year.
I believe it. There wasn't much going on.
Not one movie crested $10 million.
And there's also, it's the beginning of fall, and everybody's got these events that they're going to. I mean, just here in Northwest Arkansas, there's 1,000 events to go to.
Yeah, in the pre-show we talked about all the things going on. The top two movies were $8.4 and $8.3 million. Without one cresting 10, that made it the worst box office weekend of the year so far. So, I mean, we still got 2.5 months to go.
You got some more of them comic book movies we can get in there?
Jeez, yeah. When does the Marvels come out? That one's gonna stink up the place.
No thanks, man.
Apparently, it has the highest budget of any Marvel movies that's not an Avengers film.
God, barf.
Yeah, and
it's going to be the biggest disappointment of any Marvel movie that's not an Avengers movie.
Yeah. But there it is. That's the things
news
we missed and stuff that came out recently. And
all right. Well,
that's all I got.
Let's tell you guys what's coming out in theaters this week, because this is a kind of a semi-stacked. I'm gonna glaze over some of these small ones, but The Creator is coming out this week.
Yeah, which
from Gareth Edwards.
Again, that thing about Disney testing the waters of more mature content kind of stuff. This is a Disney movie. Also, Disney had that horror movie where that kid was gonna get murdered by shadow creatures in his house. It was Conjuring, but made by Disney. So
But if you haven't seen the trailer for it, it's against the backdrop of a war between humans and robots with artificial intelligence. A former soldier finds the secret weapon, a robot in the form of a young child. So if you missed the Spielberg Kubrick AI, they're kind of going, we're going to take this one on again, but change it up a little bit. And it's the creator. So
Yeah, but this has Ken Watanabe in it, doesn't it?
it does have Ken Watanabe, and that is what's going to get me in the freaking theater, because I will watch anything with Ken Watanabe in it because he's awesome. So,
Check out Bion the Assassin.
which is awesome.
It's a super sick series that Ken Watanabe did where he's a acupuncturist by day and an assassin by night, and he kills people with his acupuncture needles. It's a super rad series.
Ken
if you could find
Watanabe
it. Yeah.
rules. Also coming out is Dumb Money from director Craig Gillespie. It's about the whole GameSpot short stocks or short squeeze. The Wall Street. What was it? Wall Street Bets. Reddit. And this has got a bunch of stars in it. It's Paul Dano, Pete Davidson, Vincent D'Onofrio, America Ferrera, Nick Offerman, Seth Rogen, Sebastian Stan, Clancy Brown. It is.
Clancy Brown's in it?
Yeah, Dane DeHaan, where's he been? It's Anthony Ramos is in this. It's got so many people in this movie, and I kind of want to see this. I'm not a big comedy in the movie fan and a movie theater fan, but this is kind of based on some real events, and of course, spun and made it fun and ridiculous. But
Well, just a reminder before you get too hyped, Pete Davidson's a big part of this movie too.
I know, but if he's just playing just a jag-off dick licker, then he's probably going to do a great job because he nails that pretty well. But yeah, Dumb Money, that's out, and you can check that one out. But then also coming out is the internet was trying to get some traction like Barbenheimer again with Saw Patrol, because Paw Patrol and Saw 10 are coming out this weekend at the same time.
What a fucked double feature that would be.
Yeah, but leave it to the internet to try and make this a thing. But I just don't think, again, it's people are just going to go see Paw Patrol that don't want to see Paw Patrol just because they want to be a part of a meme. But that's really interesting to see. Is your dedication to just saying that you participated in a meme worth sitting through Paw Patrol for an hour and 45 minutes?
Wait till these kids learn about Flash Mob.
Oh, God, no, we don't need any more of those. I had my fill of those in the mid-2000s. Thank you. Thank you. And don't need any more.
So talking Paw Patrol, though, kind of like Dina said in the comments that Wonka is going to do probably really well around a holiday time because it's going to be the only family-oriented kind of a thing out there.
Oh, yeah.
Paw Patrol is probably going to end up being one of those movies kids movies that we've seen in the past where there's no real money for it at the beginning, but it's just going to stay on forever and end up making tons of money because it's the only family-friendly option out there. So everybody with a kid that age is just going to take their kid there because that's the option there for them.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Also coming out, not sure if it's going to get a big national release or where it's coming out, but it's a film called The Kill Room. It's from director Nicole Paoni. It's about a hitman, his boss, and an art dealer had a money laundering scheme that accidentally turned into an assassin, avant-garde sensation, and becomes an artist, blah, 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 but it's an artist against the underworld. But your characters are Samuel Jackson and Uma Thurman and Joe Manganiello and, another just heavy hitter ensemble
I
cast.
was going to say, you asked where Dane DeHaan's been. Dude, Uma Thurman.
Where's Uma? But yeah.
She did Super Ex-Girlfriend and then quit acting for a long time.
Right. But that's coming out this weekend, as well as A24's release of Stop Making Sense. This is actually playing already this week. It came out a little bit early. It's playing right now. I don't know if it's going to carry through the weekend at our local IMAX, but it is Stop Making Sense, which is a re-release of 1984 live performance from the Talking Heads, considered by a lot of film critics as being one of the greatest concert films ever made. It's just a filming of a concert.
Better than Song Remains the Same?
According to critics, this is just what I'm reading. I've not actually seen Stop Making Sense, but I do really like the Talking Heads. How do you not like David Byrne? Like, he's super cool.
I mean, Talking Heads have a lot of good songs.
Yeah, everybody.
That sounds just like it.
Well, I have played that at many weddings. And yeah.
You sounded just like that. And I want to say, take me to the river.
Oh man, but yeah, I believe it or not, I've never seen Stop Making Sense, and it's one of those things that I'm embarrassed by not seeing it, because as a guy who, can fill up one of these like 1,000 movies you must see before you die, like on a Tuesday, and be like, I've seen all these. I've not seen this one, and I'd like to check it out, but man, this week's not good for me. So if it sticks around a little bit later in IMAX, I think that would be an amazing view. But if you can make it out there, you can see it. So it'll be in theaters near you. It's restored in 4K, so pretty cool. That's what's coming out in theaters this week. That's your weekend release, September 29th. Release this week, so you can check all of those things out at your theaters. Go support your theaters. That is the way you support your screenwriters and all the people that were striking and all this kind of stuff. Go see movies in the theaters on a giant silver screen, and yeah, do it. Okay. Let's talk about movies that you saw, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I didn't get a chance to see any movies because I've been building horror movie dioramas for the past few days. But Jake saw some movies.
Yeah.
So what do you want to start with?
I'll go in chronological order here. So one of them I didn't get to talk to you guys about, but I went and saw was Jawan. That one, it's the new Shah Rukh Khan movie that's out. It is about to be one of the, if not end up being the most successful Indian movie across the globe, and currently probably sitting at number 2 as far as U.S. gross. It is it's like an action movie,
a high
revenge movie,
action thriller.
Yeah,
IMDb.
it's action thriller, it's revenge, and there's twist and stuff. And most of these movies are going to be pretty formulaic, pretty predictable kind of a thing. But they're so good, it doesn't matter. But this one, I was like, oh, this is the twist. And I told my friend that was watching it with me, I was like, yo, this guy is that guy. And she's like, what, really? I said, yeah, watch. And then it ended up being some other dude. And I was like, oh no, they got me. But it's a ride. You get to experience like every emotion in this movie. It has killer action. It has a bad guy that you just hate. Shah Rukh Khan, it's been out long enough now, but if you don't want a spoiler, don't listen for a few seconds. 3, 2, 1. He does double duty. He's 2 characters, right? And that's part of the twist in the movie, is that you get Shah Rukh Khan twice. But the way it plays into the story is super badass. And then it all wraps up at the end. And the things you learn about both of those characters as those revelations come about, it's just, it ramps you up, and it's the most exciting thing. And there's a reason this is becoming so successful. Like, the action is fantastic. The story is a lot of fun, and it's just an exciting movie to go watch. It's like watching Tango and Cash kind of a thing.
Bold statement, sir.
Because when you watch Tango and Cash, and the whole time you're just like, yeah, and it's like you laugh and you have fun. And
he looks like Darkman in this movie.
He has he goes through different costumes, because the whole thing is that one Shah Rukh Khan the Shah Rukh Khan in this, he's a terrorist, right?
Okay.
But for good.
Okay,
Is
a good terrorist.
Yeah, so it starts out and you're like, what? He's evil? I don't understand. Because the opening scene, you have Shah Rukh Khan save this whole village. And then it goes 30 years later. And then the next time you see him,
Okay, yeah.
he's all wrapped up in bandaged and stuff to hide his identity. And he's taking over this subway train. And they plan for this like rich guy's daughter to be on the train. And they hold the whole thing hostage. They start shooting innocent people. Like they tie this cop up and everything, and you're like, what? He's evil? I don't understand. But it's all for the greater good of the Indian people, and he becomes a folk hero to the people of the country, and all of his like seemingly terrorist acts are for the betterment of India, and the people love him because all he's doing is fighting for the lives and welfare and the betterment of the people. He's like,
that horse was on fire?
yeah, but it, like at one point he's like, I'm gonna kill this government official that's a corrupt butthole, man, if you don't get all of this hospital's equipment, and admit like on live TV why this dude sucks, you know. So he uses his powers for evil for good. Which the trailer, you know, the whole time in the trailer, you're like, what? Shah Rukh Khan's evil? I don't understand.
This trailer is, I mean, we're sitting here watching it together. This is pretty wild.
This is a secondary trailer that was released after the movie came out, and you get to see things that you shouldn't see because it messes up the movie. But the initial trailer, you're like, I don't understand why he's evil. It makes sense in the movie. It's fantastic. If you liked RRR, if you like action movies, if you like stuff like, Tango and Cash or like any kind of revenge movie, it's the movie to see. It's a really good time. I loved it.
All right. And you saw that in theaters?
I saw that in theaters. It's still out there in theaters. You can go add to it, help it take top spot.
Move up from number 13.
It's definitely worth watching. I had a really good time. After that, something I talked to you guys about, and something that matters to me, but it might not matter to all of you, but it is something worth watching because it is very good, and the universe is established, and everyone likes good lore and universes. I watched the first episode of the new Warhammer TV
you were
series.
Talking about this, yeah.
Pariah Nexus. In the first episode, you get little chapters, and it follows Adeptus Sororitas. It follows one of the Sisters of Battle. It follows a Space Marine, and you get like also the Necron perspective. And the whole thing is that humans are trying to defend this planet against the Necrons that have awakened on this, what turns out is a tomb world. And so,
Necrons would love that.
Yeah, well, that's why they're there, right? And you get to see the Necrons are so cool.
Yeah, there they are right
They just
there.
they like teleport and snipe, and they shoot people and disintegrate all of these Astra Militarum people. But you get to see like how these Necrons have gone crazy, and they're corrupted, and they're using these humans as experiments to try and force their souls into them, and they're just wiping all the military out. But you get to see the Sister of Battle. You get to see the Space Marines. It's sick. It's not very long. It's only like 20 minutes for the episode.
So no orcs.
No orcs in this series. This series is about this battle with the Necrons, right?
Gotcha.
So there's like a couple of drop pods of Space Marines, and the Sister of Battle, who's with this sergeant in the military. She's like, we got to get to him. And she's like, what makes you so sure? He's like, and of course, faith. You know, she's like, we got to have faith. We're going to find the Emperor's angels, and they're going to save us. It's sick. If you're not into Warhammer, give it a try. You might find that you like it. It's very lore rich. It's an established world that's been built for decades, you know, since the mid 80s. Everything's there. It's better than almost anything you're going to find that's trying to do new stuff or reboot crap. They have such a well-established and curated world that isn't perfect, but they've maintained it since the 80s, and they don't let anyone taint it, right? And it's brought to you by Warhammer Studios. It's probably not worth shilling out the cash if you're not into Warhammer.
Yeah, you really have to kind of be into it.
You can buy it by the month, so you could pay $5 and get tons of shows.
Taste.
There's lots of different shows on Warhammer TV worth watching. But this one in particular is very good. Next episode comes out this Wednesday. I'm super excited about it.
All right.
And then to continue with the action, yesterday,
Another big action movie.
yeah, another action movie. Yesterday, I watched Expendables.
Yeah, what's with the the Expendables?
Yeah.
Like, why did people put numbers in their titles? It's just ridiculous.
So, this movie continues the Expendables franchise, right? And they bring in new blood, and
Because the old blood can barely stand to be on screen anymore.
one of the multiple taglines for this movie was "When old blood meets new blood." Stupid. This movie sucks, and I'm gonna open it up with that because there's not a way to avoid it. My brother and I went and watched this. We were like, maybe it'll be good. The first Expendables was at least fun. The second one had some exciting stuff.
I
The
didn't
third
like
one's
the third one.
the third one's a disappointment.
There was a couple
for sure.
cameos that are like, okay, cameo.
Yeah, and
but-
part of it was that movie was rated PG-13. And the whole thing is you have these icons, these pillars of action. You have Stallone, Statham, Lundgren, Schwarzenegger, Ford.
Harrison Ford's in this one, yeah.
No, not in this
No,
one.
not this one.
In
He was
the
in the
last
last
one. You have Harrison Ford, Mel Gibson, Antonio Banderas. Like you get a
Bruce
lot.
Willis was in one of them.
Bruce Willis is in one or two of them. He's in two or three of them actually. Because Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis are in the first one for a
And
second.
did this one have Tony Jaa?
This one,
or-
yeah. So it had Iko Uwais,
Iko Uwais.
and
hell
Tony
yeah.
Jaa, Jason Statham.
Iko Uwais is so badass.
He's the bad guy.
Oh, even better.
He's the yeah.
Because I
he's
just
like-
root for him the whole time.
He's probably the most fleshed out character in this. That's not
Good.
the established Jason Statham character. So part of the reason that this was not fun is that they tried to focus on all these people and give them their individual spots way too much
No.
instead of letting them be there. But Stallone is in this movie for 30 seconds total, right? That's all you get of Stallone. It is a Jason Statham movie, which as a Jason Statham movie, when it's with him, is good. It's very much like a Meg type thing, where it's Statham, and he's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to kick these guys' asses. He brings in Tony Jaa, and when Tony Jaa shows up, I was like, yo, Tony Jaa! And I got like excited, even though the first half of the movie leading up to that sucked, and most of it after that sucked. But when you like see Tony Jaa, and he had like a 10-second action scene where you were like, yes, Tony Jaa.
But
right?
just 10 seconds?
Yeah, no one really gets a lot of screen time except for Megan Fox and Jason Statham.
We don't see her thumb at all.
Oh, yes, you do.
Do you?
You see her big old toe thumb for an extended period of time. But so at the beginning, it starts out, it's kind of like, Stallone's getting Statham. Statham's in an argument with Megan Fox because they're a couple, despite their age difference, and it's just whatever. And then she's on screen for way too long. They go beat up a couple of guys, and then they go on the mission. It brings in Randy Couture again,
of course,
which is cool to
and
see
50
him.
Cent.
It has 50 Cent, which actually they play one of his songs at one point in the movie on a boombox. So it's in universe. In universe, there's a 50 Cent song, but it's not sung by this 50 Cent because this 50 Cent is Easy Day, not 50 Cent. So
Cool.
Yeah. And instead of Banderas, they have some new guy that you've never heard of playing the son of Antonio Banderas' character. They have some girl.
The guy actually kind of looks like Antonio Banderas.
He talks like him. He sounds like him.
Hey, I'm going to shoot these guys sexily.
Yeah, that's his whole thing. Is he's like, have you ever been beat on? It feels good. And everyone's like, you're weird. That's a real thing from this movie.
Feels good.
Yeah, it's super creepy. There's some girl that's on the team that they barely get into, except the whole thing is that she's like 24 and she's really into the idea of like jerking off Randy Couture, and that's the whole reason that she's there.
hell?
And he gets injured at one point, and she's like, "What?
Hi,
You hurt the
yeah.
guy that I?" Yeah, yeah, Uncle Roger stuff for sure. But she's like, you hurt the guy I'm attracted to. Now I'm gonna like semi beat you up a little bit. But Tony Jaa is the one that really fights him. It's super dumb. Every part of it with Jason Statham is actually fun.
Well, because Jason
Statham's like the one good part of it.
He has become like he is much like The Rock and these other people. They become junk food. You just like seeing them, and like Paul Rudd, you just like seeing them on screen.
Yeah,
and they know it. They're just like, I'm here to one less job. I'm gonna kick this guy.
Hey, I'm gonna do that thing that I do that you like, and you're like, yes.
And you're like, yeah, please.
That's
thank you.
why I bought the ticket. But every other character, like Randy Couture, instead of having him do cool action stuff or like do mixed martial arts and like murder someone with like MMA
Can he
moves,
even do that anymore?
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Randy Couture kicks ass. But instead of doing anything like that, they just have him talk a lot, and he's not an actor.
He's not a talker.
He's not an actor. He's a fighter. He's good at fighting. Not good at delivering lines by himself. He's not good at doing a monologue. And then every other character is just on screen to do their thing for a few seconds, and it's so lame every time. Iko Uwais is super rad. Tony Jaa gets like his little moment. Jason Statham's very good, but there is far too much Megan Fox in this movie. She's one of the main characters. It's a paper-thin plot. It's very predictable. Spoiler alert again. 3, 2, 1. Andy Garcia is the bad guy, and you see it from 10 million miles away.
If Andy Garcia is in a movie, he's the bad guy.
He's the CIA guy, and he's the one that sent him on missions. But somehow, each time they're on a mission, they get ambushed now, and it doesn't make sense. And he goes, well, I'm going to join you this time. And when they get captured, he's the one person taken out of the room.
He's the one person that's Andy Garcia, who is always the double-crossing jerk.
And even though, not in Untouchables.
God, that was so long ago, though. before he found that typecast of like being the backstabber.
Yeah, they go in this room where they have them all prisoner. They go, "Who's the leader?" And Randy Couture goes, "Me." And they go, "No, we're taking Andy Garcia." And you're like, clearly this guy's the bad guy, right? And it's paper thin. It's dumb as hell, and the whole movie is CGI. And it stands out. It glares at you in the face.
That's a bummer because like what makes action movies so good is the stunts
and practical effects.
That's why people want to watch those movies.
So it starts out as soon as Stallone gets to Statham's house, and it goes from Stallone at the door, and then it goes inside the house to face Stallone on the street. The whole background is CGI, very clearly CGI. There's a very CGI plane takeoff, and from there it just gets worse. And the moment the movie ended and the credits started, my brother turned to me and he goes, "That was a bad movie." I was like, yeah, you're right. And I was like, especially, and before I could say it, he goes, CGI blue screen everywhere. He was like, dude, green screen. And I was like, that's what I was about to say.
I feel like all this CGI stuff is in 2013 there was a really fun phrase that was called the Jerry Action film. And
50 cuts for Liam Neeson to go over a fence.
Yes. Yeah. And like when you start leaning into Jerry Action films, you can't do these stunts. And, that's why guys like Iko Uwais and Tony Jaa are so cool, is because they kind of still can do these stunts. And, Jason Statham can still do these stunts, but not for long. And, when you have to rely on less on stunts, more on CGI because you can't do the stunts, action movies start to get bleh.
Well, but that's the whole thing. When you have Iko Uwais and Tony Jaa and Jason Statham, you can do the stunts.
Yes.
And they do. Those three are very good.
But when you chock it full of 20 other tertiary characters that need their own spotlight.
Yeah, and the problem, and that's it. And they try, and the main thing is that they don't give a focus to guys like Randy Couture or give 50 Cent some stuff, because 50 Cent's been in some pretty okay movies.
Yeah.
He's done some cool stuff in action
bad.
movies and stuff, including what's the one about his life where, there's some movie about his life. He even has a video game. There's a 50 Cent video game. He can do it.
Yeah, he can do it.
Isn't he in that movie with Gerard Butler, where he's the cop and they're going against the bank robbers and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie's good. He's good in that movie. But everyone tries to get their focus, but all the focus is put on these people who you don't know who they are. The son of Banderas, the girl that doesn't talk, Megan Fox, who you just are like, why is she even in this movie? Because she's like, yeah, you hate me because I'm on this team. I'm an action girl. And you're like, show me some action. And she's just like, put your face on my bottom lips, Jason Statham. And that's her whole thing. It's bad.
Transformers.
And normally this is the kind of movie that I would watch, and I'm like, yeah, this movie's dumb as hell. I love it. You know, it's exactly what I wanted. A dumb action movie that you don't have to think about with a bunch of like killer cameos.
Nah.
Not this one. Jason Statham parts are great. Other than that, it's definitely not worth watching. It only made $8 million for a reason. They got $100 million. They got
still the number 2 movie at the box office.
Like I said, worst box office weekend.
Well, that's
So,
a really good transition.
if you want a good action movie, watch Jawan. Don't waste your time with Expendables.
I will agree with that. And I haven't even seen Jawan, but I can tell you that Expendables probably isn't going to be pretty. It's going to be expendable. But that is a great transition into the box office roundup, where we give you the top 10 movies in America, mostly domestic numbers, unless we decide to include some international numbers. But I don't think we'll do that in this lineup. But yeah, we're going to give you the top 10, and it's just this past weekend. So. Do you wanna keep it rolling?
Yeah, let's keep going. All right. So this past week, the ones that made money here in the U.S., which I do want to bring up, number 11, your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that you love so much
That you still need to watch.
It is available VOD at home, but it's still not far outside of the top 10. It still brought in $1.625 million, bringing it to $116.25 million in 8 weeks out, which is the exact same amount of money that this past week that Oppenheimer brought in, which is at number 10, 1.626. So like less than $1,000 more, $700 more. And its totals $321 million in the U.S. in 10 weeks. It's made well over $500 million across the globe, and it is the most successful biography movie ever. Coming in at number 9, which is incredible to see that this is still hanging in the top 10, which might tell you about the state of the movies right now. Blue Beetle brought in $1.8 million. 6 weeks out has only brought in $69 million in the U.S., 124.8 total across the globe. Not even enough to pay for half of that movie.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Too bad that movie sucks. Coming in at number 8, Dumb Money.
Had an early release.
Climbing up from its 19th spot, which was probably like a New York, LA thing.
Yeah, it was only in 2 theaters.
$2.4 million, which is 1,000% increase on it. Yes, it added 608 theaters, bringing it to a total of 616. So it was in 8 theaters. But it's totaled at $2.7 million in its 2 weeks of release. I imagine that movie would probably be doing okay. I'm sure there's enough adults out there that want to watch that kind of thing.
I'm one of them.
Yep. And then opening at number 7, It Lives Inside. $2.6 million brought in by that one. What's going on?
They were asking about Gran Turismo, and that was number 12.
Yeah, it dropped down to number 12, which I still need to see that one. It's just one of those things where I don't have a strong desire to sit at the theater to watch it when I got other options.
But you like cars?
Yeah, I like cars. I like Gran Turismo. I like PlayStation. I like racing sims, all that kind of thing. But it's something I'll probably just watch at home sometime. And then coming in at number 6, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, number 3, which I did not realize was out. I think we talked about it on the show.
I briefly mentioned it. Yeah.
I think it came out the week before we were gone. $3 million brought in by it, 23.8 total. Who knows what its budget was, but it's number 6.
That's probably a good return.
And then Holding Strong at number 5.
It did get an IMAX re-release with bloopers.
Yeah, with extras added in. And it's also available on VOD now.
Mm-hmm.
Barbie, which being on VOD is incredible to see that people are still going to the theater for this one. $3.2 million, bringing it to $630 million in the U.S. alone in its 10 weeks out, doing for Warner Brothers what their DC movies cannot. And then
crazy.
What's nice to see, for me at least, a movie I talked to you guys about at number 4 is The Equalizer 3. $4.75 million brought in by it in its 4th week out, bringing its total to $81.3 million. This is also a good action choice, and it's a calmer action. Most of the movie's quiet so that when you get some of the action and it gets loud, it's impactful. And it's been out long enough. One of the best things about this movie, something that I really liked, is that he is the equalizer in this movie. And it sets up for a showdown. It builds up for this showdown. There's not a showdown. He just goes in and ninjas people. The end. The way it should be. He's the hero. He's the badass.
Like big boss fights. And
yeah, these like mafia guys think that they're somebody. No, he's somebody, and he just ninjas them to death, and there's nothing they can do about it. It's perfect. I really liked this one. It stayed true with the other two. These 3 movies are very good. I like the Equalizer movies. It's nice to see that one is still holding and up there. And Denzel Washington.
$81 million?
He's very good.
Nothing
very
to scoff at.
And then number 3, A Haunting in Venice. Sucks to see that one's
Slow crawling.
slow. Yeah, $6.3 million for it, which is a 56% drop. It's totaled at only 25.3 in its 2 weeks out. Something I did not realize is until looking right here is that it was released by Buena Vista.
Mm-hmm.
That's a Disney movie.
Yep. They own the
And,
rights to all those, yeah.
So they had this one and
Death
Haunted
on the
Mansion
Nile and Haunted Mansion
at the same time.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's basically kind of the same thing. It's people in a haunted mansion.
Well, it's Hercule Poirot.
Yeah, but this one's fake haunted, and the other
It
one's
was real haunted.
real haunted. Yeah, and then opening at the number 2 spot, Expendables brought in. These numbers say 8.039. What I was seeing was that it was at 8.3 earlier. So I don't know if that is a absolute. If the 8.3 was
just over 8, we'll say.
It's in bold, so it's estimated. Just over 8 million. It's the number 2 movie. It's not good, y'all. Don't waste your time here unless you just really like Jason Statham. If you're like me and you really like Tony Jaa, you do not get enough Tony Jaa to scratch that itch.
Dina on Twitch said there have been some scathing bylines for Haunting in Venice that call it boring. I'd be curious to read these reviewers like bios because maybe they forgot that it was fucking Agatha Christie, and unless you're into that, dude, it's boring. Like,
did you watch Murder on the Nile? Not the most exciting movie in the world.
No.
Until it all comes together.
And it's fun. Whodunits are kind of like, like screensavers, ambient screensavers that you put on. You're like, oh yeah, and you're not like, oh, so seat in my pants. But I feel like the fact that they tried to market it as like Haunting in Venice, and they're like, oh, scary movie, and Hercule Poirot comes up there and it goes with his fucking Jaffa cake sitting around like going, there's a mystery afoot for 2 hours, and they're like, wait a minute, I was expecting ghosts and shit, and then it was a big bait and switch, and everyone's like, this movie's bang.
It has Michelle Yeoh, and she's like, oh, a ghost. And he goes, that's not real. And everyone's like, come on, guy.
You made me waste the Jaffa cake.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as Dina says, it's really unfortunate because I know I'll like it. I know I'll like it too. I know I'll probably love it, but I have not had a chance to
haven't
see
watched
it.
I thought
no,
you watched it.
I've been so busy. I haven't had a chance to see it.
I like these. I like
Dude, I do too.
old Kenneth Branagh's
so good.
Hercule Poirot. I really like it. One thing about Expendables real quick is that I did see an interview with Jason Statham where he was like, the lack of Stallone in this is stupid. He's like, Stallone should have been more in this movie because it's a Stallone movie. So even Statham is like, why was I the main character? It's supposed to be Stallone. So That's a good reason why it's not doing so good is because it had a preview, and I think a lot of people talked.
Producers and money.
Yeah. And then coming in at number 1, releasing. It's been out for 3 weeks. I did not realize that.
Yeah, we've been our schedule's been weird.
But holding at the number 1 spot, $8.5 million. So it climbed up over the estimated 8.4 that I saw, because it was at 8.4 and Expendables was at 8.3. But totaling at $69 million is The Nun 2.
There you go. Well, that's your top 10. One more comment over there on Twitch. Dina said that she's been seeing some journalism about the sorry state of journalism. And I want to say that it was either Tom Brokaw or Walter Cronkite a while back, like when Twitter was becoming a thing. They spoke out and were talking about how they foresee the death of journalism in the relatively near future, because we're not reporting news, we're reacting to events, and there is a difference between analytical reporting of news and going, man, I saw this and I immediately feel like this. And, that's not news. That's like news and reporting and journalism. And, as Dina said, the Washington Post is experiencing this right now, which is shocking. No, New York Times, Washington Post, all these places, because they're all 20-somethings that are coming out of like thinking they know how to write stuff, and then these people need writers, and they go, I can churn out an article about something I have no fucking clue about, because that's how it all works now. And now you can pump it into AI and get even shittier articles written by just a Google search. And I read these reviews sometimes after the fact, and I talk about them on the show, where I can tell it, I can smell it. I'm like, I've been watching movies. We've been watching movies for years and years and years, and like all kinds of different genres. We try to bring that into that's why we don't do ratings, and why we also try to empower you as an audience. It's like, yeah, we might like something, but that's because of what we like. I can't just go, this movie sucks, unless I give you reasons why it sucks. And we will list those things out, not like, well, it's boring, it's slow, I didn't like them lasers, and maybe they didn't have enough, wheelchair guys in it. I don't know. And be critical. Read a book about being critical. I don't know. Just drives me nuts. But and there's all these people with podcasts now talking about our podcast convention that I was just to. Not everybody needs to hear your opinion. Not everybody needs to hear ours. But at least we've been grinding it out and practicing at it for over 10 years so that we can deliver it to you. Not like, man, I got an idea and microphones are real cheap. Maybe we should tell everybody what we think, dude. And I don't know.
What sucks is that real offensive pricks like that end up being the kind of people that are like, this is my guy. Yeah. Because it's easier to talk shit on stuff because people like that and like to share it because it's more fun that way than going, you know what, that was pretty all right. I have the seal of approval. But anyway, all right. Well, I've got to scoot. I got to get back to work. This guy's got to work tonight as well. Thanks for tuning in. We'll try and be back next week. And maybe we'll have some more new movies to talk to you about. But don't forget to like and subscribe wherever it is you like and subscribe. You can download the audio version of this podcast wherever it is you download your podcasts. And I don't know. You got anything else to say, Jake? That's it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then I guess on that note, we're out of here, and we will see you guys next week.
Later.
As you leave the theater, folks, please be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.